So, ladies and gentlemen, today I have a great pleasure of introducing to you this wonderful Vedic astrologer and a wonderful person I met last year in Sedona. And actually, she has been one of my digital gurus. Like, if I am not mistaken, her book has been one of my Bibles to learn astrology. So,
thank you so much.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Miss Komilla Sutton, for coming on my channel.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Kapil. As I was telling you just before, that you are have taken Vedic astrology into a new dimension. I'm so proud of you because you know what you have done and made Jyotish accessible to everybody via YouTube and make it interesting while still being in depth. You know, very few people can do that and take something and put it into a totally new dimension. And that's what you have done. So I'm really proud of you and congratulations.
Thank you. I just wanted to, make astrology fun. Like, because we were so scared with all the dogmatic information that is out there.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm like, you know what, I love astrology, but I find nothing but all these scary things. I'm like, you know what, let me just give it a completely other side of it, because there is the other side.
Yeah, I think it's also because, it was written in old style. So that is the main problem, that a lot of Jyotish is written old style. We need modern interpretation of old subjects.
Yeah.
Then we need younger interpretation, so you are doing the younger bit.
People get into it, understand it from their perspective.
Yeah, and then they can go deeper and deeper, that's the beauty of Jyotish. I've been studying for so many years and I'm still a student because there's always new we can learn and we never get bored with it.
There's something new every day, every day.
It's a fantastic subject, yeah.
So tell us, how did you get into this divine science? When did you get started in this?
I got started in 1979. My life was a bit of a mess. So I went for a Jyotish reading. It's not that I was born in India, so there was always family doing the reading, but it was never myself voluntary going to have a Jyotish reading done. And the first time I had it, I was converted and I I didn't realize I was studying, but I met this wonderful Jyotish person, not famous, but very great, with a highly spiritual attitude to Jyotish. And he started talking to me. We started doing yagyas, pujas, all personal, not big things. He would do it, and helping me. And it was such a great tool that I realized that I was learning at that stage. When I look back, then in the early 80s, I moved to UK. And I continued my love for Jyotish, for many years. And then it was in the 90s that I started doing it professionally. So, I'm totally involved in Jyotish and I honor it as a great subject. It's a great science, not just to learn, but to follow. So that is really my story. And then I realized I must write a book on it or teach, because nobody knew when I started doing. People were in UK especially only talking Western astrology. And so I thought, I have to teach it so that I can talk to people about my subject.
Right.
I started teaching it. And this is pre-internet and pre-everything, when you had to go physically and talk to people. And then I was lucky, I wrote my first book, which came out in 1999. This is the one, Essentials of Vedic Astrology.
Oh, is it this one, right?
That's right, yeah. Right.
There's her.
Yeah.
There's the beautiful Komilla Sutton.
Thank
you. There you go. This is the book. And this is the book that, the beauty of this book is, it is simple.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. Me, as a new to Jyotish, could read this book. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of your book that you wrote.
That was, I think that is the thing that most people said about it. And that was my idea, because remember, I'm from India. I was trying to make a complicated subject easy.
Yeah.
And of course, you've taken it into a different new dimension, which I'm really proud of. But, I was trying that people should read and should be able to understand the subject. And without scaring them, because you see, Jyotish is not about fear.
Exactly.
But understanding ourselves so that we can make the best of it. that is the key to Jyotish. That's what I have been working with. And that is what my Guruji taught me, that is what it is, that it's a philosophical, high divine subject. And it shines light to us, not to scare us, but to make us understand that sometimes times are not good. Sometimes we don't have a perfect chart, but yet we live with it. We live successfully with it.
So why is there so much fear then? Why was there fear to begin with, knowing the true roots of this thing is very divine and spiritual?
I think it's just how people expressed it, and also, saying something in Hindi and then trying to translate to a Western thinking is totally different. You tell somebody something in Hindi or whatever your local language is, then people understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
You try to interpret it into English. And a lot of teachers, they just interpret it. I spoke to one of the great teachers in India, and he said, oh yeah, I read some old Alan Leo's book, and he says it. So I said, but he said it in 1900. You're talking 2000s,
Exactly.
So I think that a lot of people, they think in Hindi or whatever their local language is, and they translate that way. So, that is the thing. Also, many people believe, which I think both you and I don't believe in, is that if somebody is coming to them, they've got problems, so they only highlight the problems.
Yeah.
Whereas I like to highlight the positive things in your chart, and also not avoid the problems, but to say how you can work through your problems. So I think that is the thing that I see this with teachers in India still, that they want to show you this is the problem, because when they're teaching you, they want you to learn that. But then how it gets interpreted is that's all about fear and anxiety. And, I can tell you that people get afraid because they feel that's going to get their, chart is going to expose all the negativity.
Yeah.
Because actually it exposes the quality of time, what you are born in, when you're living, so that you can deal with it properly. So,
and as far as your gurus are concerned and teachers are concerned, which gurus do you owe this to? I mean, who are some of your most profound impact, like teachers who impacted you?
I learned in Mumbai, and my guru was Dr. Ajit Sinha. He's no longer with us. He was a Sanskrit scholar from Calcutta, and he's studied Jyotish as a spiritual tool. So I would say that he is the main person in my life, because although I'm very much self-taught myself, but the original spark, the thing is that he lit that spark in me. And I remember actually still, it was November 1979. I went to him and I said, Ajit, please look at my chart. My life is a mess and everything. And he looked at it and he gave me so much inspiration. And so he is my guru, really. I honor him for what he taught me and the way he opened my eyes to this divine subject. In India, what happens is everybody talks Jyotish, but everybody kind of doesn't understand the true meaning of it. But I feel that is what I learned from him. And then, of course, I have met many great people in my life, great Jyotishis, because we started an organization in UK called the British Association of Vedic Astrology. I hope sometime you will come also, Kapiel, to lecture.
Love to.
Yeah, I will arrange that. But we started in 96, so we are now almost 20 years this year. So we started the organization, and every year we've had some great speakers from India, and always honoring the knowledge in the proper way. So every year we have a conference, we have online programs and all that. So
is it similar to the ACBC?
Yes, ACVA, yes.
Okay, ACVA, yeah.
Yeah, actually what happened that Andrew Foss and myself, so I think you met Andrew Foss.
Yeah, Andrew Foss, yeah, absolutely.
Andrew Foss and myself, we were both living in UK, and we knew each other's existence, but one day when Jupiter was in Sagittarius, I managed to get his phone number.
Oh.
So I called him, they said, oh, Dr. Frawley is in town, and Andrew's with Dr. Frawley. So anyway, by the time I met him, I said, I'm really keen to start this organization in UK so that we have some forum for Vedic astrology in UK and Europe. And he said, so am I. So we said, let's talk to Dr. Frawley. So we went and visited David Frawley at King's College, I remember. And David said, it's a great idea. And why don't we call Dr. Raman? So those days, there was no email. So we did a snail mail to Dr. Raman, and he agreed to be our patron. So wow. From December 1996, we started our organization. And the thing is, this one of the first things we did, and which is my favorite subject, is Muhurta, that we decided that our conference will always be, or our lectures will be always done with help of Muhurat. So the first Muhurat we had to do was of creating our organization. So what happened was that Jupiter was in Sagittarius, about to leave it. So we got last degree of Jupiter, Vargotam and Jupiter for our organization.
Wow.
And we managed, and Andrew was going to India. So we had all sorts of restrictions, but we needed Dr. Raman's blessing. So he blessed us. So that was, he passed away in 1997, but that was his last sort of good thing. And David was also very supportive of us. Mm-hmm. So when we had our first conference, then we had David Frawley, Dennis Harness, and Chakrapani Ulal. They came and blessed us. So, we were very lucky. The ACV had already begun in USA. And yeah. So that is, we started, and actually almost all the organizations in Europe are somehow, because of Baba, they got inspired to. We have a German organization. There are things in other parts of Europe that were inspired by Baba. So we've always been having now one conference a year, although I don't live in UK any longer.
Yeah.
But we still have webinars and conferences.
I see. So when you were talking about, how people have this misconstrued meaning of Jyotish, so let's say if India, you were walking, somebody asked you, hey, I know who you are. What can you tell me? What is the meaning of Jyotish? What is the true meaning that we all need to know? Mm-hmm. What is Jyotish in Vedic astrology?
Yeah, so I say that it's the science of light. That's what it is. It is the light that is thrown to us through understanding the planets in our chart and to understanding their grip on our life. What we think about it is the planets can either control us or we control them, or we understand them. There's not a So the grahas, because it's grasping us, that right at birth we have a certain pattern, a certain behavior. So this light is a light, throwing a light to our pathway to have a good, happy, successful, comfortable life. So that is what I would say to people.
Now, in your experience of astrology, what were some of the misconceptions that you came across that you knew were this, but then when you, through your 30, 20 years of practice, you're like, no, that is not right. This is wrong. What are some of the basic misconceptions that people need to know?
I think the biggest misconception is that we have a fixed destiny, so we can't do anything about it. That is also something that a lot of times Western astrologers also complain, oh, Jyotish is all about fixed destiny, that's your karma, that's all what you can do. But I think that is the main misconception that even I had, that, oh, this is my life, there's nothing I can do about it. And all the time it is a struggle. But studying Jyotish, I've realized is that is only your life at birth. And that is the thing that is... can either hold you back, or when you understand it, then you can help yourself. So I think that is the biggest misconception, that karma is there, but then there is also living karma.
Yeah.
That means that we have certain karma that we bring into this life, but then what are we going to do about it? So I feel that is the biggest thing that I learned, that it is not just a birth chart, but how are we going to use it? If you have a palette of colors, you can make a serious mess out of it, or you can create a beautiful painting. But you can't do it without learning. That is why I feel that, knowledge is very important of Jyotish, and what work you're doing also, making it accessible for people to understand it and everything. And through studying Jyotish, that is very important.
I see. And what about other misconceptions that you saw that weren't that out?
The other misconception, I suppose, is the whole fear thing, that people would say that if you don't do this remedy, you're going to end of it, everything. But because I was not ever followed it, I think that quite often people over-prescribe, over-give, over-scare you, because I think one of the main problems in India is that the astrologers are not well paid for their job. So one of the things they do is that they try to earn through all the side remedies.
Yeah.
I think that is also it is important to do the remedies, yet you can do what I call wisdom remedies, common sense remedies. So I think that is another misconception. Secondly, I think the biggest misconception is about Shani and Rahu Ketu.
Yeah, that is the three. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That is the biggest misconception.
You're talking about that. What have you noticed about Shani that when you read, I'm sure you read about all the malefic things and all that, but in your 20 years of experience, what have you really understood about Saturn? We'll start with Saturn and we'll go to Ketu.
Okay. I think the main thing I have understood, I can tell you that I was so scared of Saturn before I because everybody would look at my chart and say, oh, Shani. And then I had no idea what Shani was, as a lay person, And then I think that the main thing I've understood is that Shani has certain rules that he expects you to follow. And if you are happy to follow them, then he is also, a great teacher to you. But he doesn't teach like Jupiter teaches. He just gives you the, somebody clears the path for you and Jupiter helps you. Shani expects you to make the effort. Start from the bottom, make the effort. If you make the effort, you'll get the reward. If you make a lot of effort, then he gives you a lot of reward. But nothing is for free, and we can't cut our corners, we can't do things. And another big what we would say, how a big fallacy or thing was the Sade Sati,
Yeah.
That you are in Sade Sati and then that's it, that's the end of the world. And you don't see it that way. So I think that the Shani is, but I noticed that sometimes when what Shani does is he does the opposite, he gives you a lot and then he suddenly takes it away. Because he always has a lesson to learn. So what I have learned over the many years is that we have to honor his impact. If you are, say, having a hard Saturn transit, then and by hard Saturn transit, I mean if Saturn is on your moon or he's on your sun or Lagna or anything, then you have to take life slowly. You can't rush into things. You can't think, oh, I'm just going to do whatever I please, because the weather, Shani is warning you that you have to take things easy, to reduce your expenses, to cut down on things, to just, be sober, I would say. So that is a key factor that I've learned. But I've noticed also that so many times he encourages the opposite, and people who don't understand his impact sometimes will do exactly opposite. So things keep on working for them and suddenly he will stop it. Shani has got Stambhana Shakti, and Stambhana Shakti means it's just bang. It's just like everything's going smoothly and one day it's stopped. And that is because people have not understood that they should have been cautious from the beginning. So,
and when you say cautious, I mean, what should they be following and doing in terms of not having that bang sudden stop?
Yeah, I think firstly to know that there's a possibility that sudden stop can happen. So I would say the first thing is that is where the importance of Jyotish comes in, is to understand that you are having this transit, because not all the time you need to have it. So, but you understand that you're having this transit. Secondly, less is more. That means you are keeping some money in the backdrop, because Shani especially, he is the ambassador who asks you to pick for your karma in this lifetime. So one of the pays of karma is expenses. So sudden expenses that you had no planning for, no thinking of, can come. So if you have the savings in your bank account, then that is good. Secondly, if you are thinking about expanding yourself, so being bigger business, bigger home, bigger, not during a Shani transit. You have to wait till it's over. Usually it
even
is
the Sadesati and all that.
Even Sadesati, or depending if Saturn is on your ascendant.
Okay. Or even the ascendant of Aruda Lagna, or
okay. Not so much Aruda, but ascendant, moon, sun, three things. Aruda also can be there. It really depends. That's where the knowledge of Jyotish is. Say next year, Shani is going to go 3 times over Gandanta position. He's going to be January, June, and I think October, 3 times over Gandanta position. If you have a planet there, then thrice Shani is going to go up and down that planet. That means you are under strong influence. If you have planets, I think 27 degrees Scorpio to 3 degrees of Sagittarius. That is where Shani is going to up and down next year.
Okay.
So, if you know that is happening, then you have to take caution, also not make yourself insecure. A lot of times people give up their jobs. They change cities, they go into different spaces. So sometimes if the job gives you up, that's a different thing. But voluntarily making those changes, in my opinion, I always say that, take some hardship for Shani.
And also, if you notice, like some of the people who became the biggest celebrity, the richest people, happened in their Shani Mahadasha.
Yeah.
How did... So, and compared to Jupiter, they weren't that successful. But Saturn, they were just suddenly successful.
Yeah, I think that is very important, because Jupiter gives you an easy life. So, you have Jupiter, the same thing happened to me.
Okay, so you got the example there, okay.
Jupiter, Jupiter makes you think, oh, life is easy, doesn't want you to struggle, so you take the easy option. The thing with Shani is he makes you work hard. And he's also very realistic. So you can't sort of say, I can't do this, I can't do that. So as soon as Shani Dasha comes, it's usually whatever you've done in Jupiter, Shani makes it happen. Jupiter gives you the ideas and the thinking and the expansive quality. I'm glad you noticed it. I notice it all the time, that Jupiter in so many times, even just now, I have a client and he has a very good Jupiter, but during Jupiter Dasha, a lot of ideas, he's an artist. But the moment Shani came, he started working hard at his art. He has got great jobs. He's become internationally well known because it's the work ethic.
Work ethics, yeah.
And what I notice is in people who have very successful charts, their work ethic is very important. When you have that strong work ethic, which is Shani gives you that. And he also makes you realistic. So and I know that Sadesati can be difficult, but it can be very successful because you're all the time working. So therefore, if you're saying, oh, I give up my job, I'm not working, then there's no good in Sadesati. So sometimes it makes you get a lot because you're working all the time. So then you're getting the result of that.
Right. And what about Rahu?
Yeah, Rahu, Ketu, both. My understanding of them came from Bipin Bihari. I don't know whether you know him.
Oh, of course. I have his book somewhere. Yeah.
Myths and Symbols of Vedic Astrology.
Yeah.
And I was lucky to meet him as well before he passed on. And that book was really changing for me because he spoke about Rahu Ketu in a way I'd never heard before, because there were always this thing, Rahu Ketu, and this is just Rahu Agya, the big problem, everything. And I started looking at them for, how to deal with them, how to work with them. I've written a book on Rahu Ketu as well.
Really? What book is that?
I'll send you my books. If you
Okay.
send your address, I'll send
Great.
you. Yeah, it's called Lunar Nodes, Crisis and Redemption.
Okay.
It's a very good book. That was my second book I wrote. It was very, but it was influenced through my original study I didn't study with him, but his book. And I did study in the sense I've met him a few times. But the thing is that Rahu Ketu, they represent our fears and anxieties of what we cannot achieve. So therefore, Rahu can be excellent in your chart. He can make you achieve anything you want. We just start with Rahu first. Together they form the plus and minus in your life. One thing you desperately want, one thing you want to get away from. But they are together. They are both in a picture together. So they are creating this plus, they're both same side of a coin. But Rahu is unfinished desires from past life. And so in this life, wherever he is, we want to fulfill that, the maximum. But the whole idea is the more we fulfill, the more dissatisfied we become.
Yes.
So at some stage, the main keyword, if you take one keyword for Rahu, is dissatisfaction. And, India itself has Rahu in the Lagna, the 1947 chart, not the old ancient chart, but the 1947 chart. So you see that the dissatisfaction can work two ways. One is that, I'm dissatisfied, so I can achieve more. But the more you achieve, Rahu still remains dissatisfied. This is why you see that many wealthy countries move towards spiritualization, because wealth and success doesn't bring that. But in order to get it, Rahu is important, because also to understand this point that when is enough, when have we finished with our Rahu energy? So we need to look at that to move forward. And so once we, understand that, then Rahu can help us to overcome the fears and anxieties.
How do you get away from these desires of Rahu?
Well, you can't get away just from Jyotish. You have to do yoga, spiritual work. You can't just say just because we know Jyotish.
Yeah.
There's a parallel science or parallel knowledge that we study. In fact, we have a conference in California every year, Yoga and Jyotish conference in 4th of July weekend at the Shivananda Ashram. Every year we keep the two together, spirituality and Jyotish. Swami Sita there, she's a great follower of Jyotish, and she promotes the link of the two. So you see, you need the yoga, not the exercise yoga, but the path of yoga, the path of spirituality. That is a whole separate knowledge that is really important, because it's Rahu that brings all the dissatisfaction with us. And we can't just resolve it by saying, I want to resolve Rahu. He brings fears, anxieties, divisiveness within us. This is me, this is outside, all those things. And he's a shadow planet. So shadow means there's no substance. Like Shani, we can say, hard work, I can do that. But Rahu is shadow, so he deals with the psychology, with our subconscious and how we react to subconscious, So there are many techniques that you learn, how not to react to your subconscious, how not to react to your subconscious fears. So, of course, the Rahu in our chart also depends where Rahu is. So, if you have Rahu in 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 11th, those are great positions. But then Rahu with the moon, Rahu with Guru, if he's with moon especially, it's quite difficult to Rahu. But then even in Jyotish, we have many remedies, and the mantra remedy is very good to do, that you can do some remedies. But the dissatisfaction of Rahu is very interesting, because you can be working and suddenly he catches hold of you. So what I always see with Rahu is, because Rahu is the head of the snake, he keeps on eating everything, but he has no way to digest it.
Yeah.
So he eats everything he swallows. So if you, say somebody is studying, if they have Rahu in the 9th house, they'll keep on studying. They'll study every possible subject but they don't know how to use it, because they're dissatisfied. They feel not complete with what knowledge they have, because of that Rahu's inability to process the information. And that is really at the crux of Rahu problem, is that we have to learn how to process. So like if you are studying, not to just too much study, if you are doing something, to enjoy what you have, to learn to appreciate that. So, there are remedies given in Brihad Parashar, Hora Shastra and all, but those are not, easy to follow with the mantra practice, the fasting and all that. There are temples based on for Rahu and all. But, it's a thing that once you decide you want to do something about your dissatisfaction, yoga is very helpful.
Like Kriya Yoga.
Yeah, I have not done Kriya Yoga myself. I like classical yoga philosophy, really. So I read the books by great gurus and teachers. Swami Shivananda is one of them that I follow. But I read a lot of spiritual books, Upanishads, Vedas, and translations, Bhagavad Gita. All that is sort of teaching you side by side. You see, in Chandogya Upanishad, they say that bird cannot fly with one wing alone. So we, as followers of Jyotish, which is a divine science, we can't just live on material part of it. We have to look at the other wing, which is the spiritual.
Yes.
That is so embodied in it. So especially with Rahu issues, because Rahu Ketu are almost the main issue that we have to deal with. So Rahu's dissatisfaction. So we can say if we are dissatisfied with our life, and especially if you're in Rahu Dasha, you can feel very dissatisfied. And my clients tell me that they don't even understand, and suddenly they are dissatisfied. They were perfectly fine in the Mars before. And there's something internally that everything seems slightly less. So, always in yoga, they say if you're dissatisfied, you have to be satisfied with something. So you have to sort of talk to yourself that, no, I have a good life. I have good family. I have good things. Let me see what is good in my life. So that is a great start to working with Rahu.
What about Ketu?
So Ketu, Ketu deals with our past karma, the things that we are, brought in with our lives. And Ketu can have a lot of positive as well, because Ketu is quite important for Jyotish. A lot of us who do Jyotish will have a prominent Rahu or Ketu.
Yeah.
And we have prominent problems as well, because that is why we came to Jyotish, But Ketu is our past life, and it is the things that we carry within us, even the knowledge of past life, or, how, say, you suddenly can do so good at Jyotish because you have already done it before. That's what I feel, that there's something there. But it is also things that hold us back, because it is like a sponge. Everything we do, it goes into Ketu. Even what you do today is now gone into your Ketu. So my interview with you is now in Ketu for
it's
another.
Recorded, yeah.
It's got recorded in live, so it's there. And so therefore Ketu can sometimes, we have to learn to let go. So just like you prune your tree of life, at times you have to let go of your past life. You see, past life is dead. That's why Rahu Ketu are both represented as a snake or dead energy. This already happened. So if we are carrying a lot of things in our baggage, karmic baggage, without clearing it out, then it becomes a big burden for us. But main aspect of Ketu is he's Moksha Karaka. So Moksha Karaka means he's looking for self-realization.
Mm-hmm.
So what Ketu does is he rejects everything, or he runs away from things because he thinks this is not good enough. This is not Moksha. I'm not totally happy with it. So you see that he wants to reject everything, but not everything in your life needs to be rejected. That's why Ketu some things need to be let go. So in the Indian system, you see at all festivals every year, whatever your main festival was, you gave up your anger with your family, you gave up, friends, everybody got together. So you let go of the 1 year issues on that festival day. And not everybody does it, but that was the great idea. So often, even like now we have the festival of Ganesh Chaturthi, where you let go of Lord Ganesha at the end of the festival. That means that at times you have to let go of your resentment, your anger, your rejections. Ketu can make you feel rejected, rejected from parents, rejected from life, people. So you have to forgive them. I find that is very important, to forgive what has happened to you. Because according to the Vedic system, we believe that what has happened to us is because of we created it. So that is why we are facing it.
I see.
Therefore we can't say somebody else is to blame, but the forgiveness is important. And also at times to prune our life, sometimes just like even in your house, you have too many books, you have too much things, too many, letting go of them, giving away to charity, those simple steps also help. But Ketu is past life and Rahu is present. So together what happens is that we are thinking they are separate things.
Yeah.
Actually, just cut, but they are both connected. Our past and present is connected. So if what we can easily forgive or let go, because it's not that easy to let go, but we have to be in the process of doing, then our Ketu can be very good. Secondly, Ketu is fantastic for Jyotish, and it's superb if you are interested in philosophy, spirituality. You see very strong Ketu in people who are studying Jyotish. So one of the great ways of resolving your Ketu is to do some more in-depth Jyotish study.
Hey, I'm all up for that.
They can listen to you a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So also in astrology, people always ask, there's a ascendant chart, then there's a moon chart.
Yeah.
Why is it important to look at the moon chart, or is it not? What is the meaning of just looking at it from the moon's perspective? Then you're
moon is the key planet. Ascendant is your physical self. Moon is your mental self. And we are all a mind. Even in yoga and all the spiritual disciplines, all they are doing is trying to make you manage your mind. Because the mind is, how we think, what we do, and our physical body is our Lagna chart, the normal chart, the time of birth. That's our physical body. That also connected a little bit to our analytical intellect, because, in the Lagna chart, you see that Mercury gets Digbala. So there's something about Mercury and Jupiter that is connected to the first house. But moon is the mind. So looking at it from the mind's perspective, the mind can ruin you or he can rise you up. You see in the athletes' charts, sometimes they say that it's not your talent, it's how you manage your mind. If you see like Wimbledon, they always talk about this when there's two people, they may be equally talented, but one wins Wimbledon and the other one doesn't. In tennis or in any sport thing, because the mind has to be managed. So looking at any chart from the moon's perspective, sometimes if your chart is really strong from the moon's perspective, you can handle situations and make them much better. So also sun's perspective, 3 charts you have to look at, but the main one is obviously Lagna and the moon. And in India, they tend to look at all the transits from the moon as well. And the reason is this, that because it's all mind, moon is changing every day, different nakshatra every day, mind is up and down.
Yeah.
So in fact, if we understand our moon and we do remedy to the mind, half our problems are over, because our mind is more settled and happy. And that is why Rahu is the enemy to the moon. And why Rahu moon, becomes not impossible, but it is more troublesome in the chart.
Now, but when they say, well, your karmas are unveiled through your ascendant, and in the past they say you didn't really have the accurate time of birth, and there's so many people born within the 2.5 days of moon transiting. So will everybody will go through the same thing as moon chart? So this is why people then make an argument that why should we look at the moon chart? Because
No,
there's so many
I don't
people.
think so, because moon is changing padas
Yeah.
a degree. Then if you look at the Navamsha, and not just the Navamsha, but if you look at the Vargas, then D60s there's even deeper degrees there. And you can say that we all have certain common denominators, but even like moon will stay in one sign for one day.
Yeah.
But if he stays in one pada,
one nakshatra one day.
Yeah, one nakshatra one day, but one pada for 6 hours. So in essence, you see the 6 hour is like we have 4 6-hour sections in the day. Sunrise, midday, sunset, midnight. So there's a natural thing of the time of day you're born. And then there are a lot of sections that, which you study in advanced Jyotish that divide the moon's other areas as well. So I think that moon is important, because even if it is same as a lot of people, that can be said for everybody. There are certain 7-8 things that are, we have Navagraha, so there's a different patterns, but the way these things happen, they are different for different people.
I see. Now, you brought up a very good concept there, Navamsha. There's so many different meanings. So many people are wanting to know, like in Vedic astrology in India, they give so much emphasis towards Navamsha. In your 20-year experience, what is Navamsha? Why do we have to look at Navamsha? What is it?
So Navamsha is the key Varga chart. Basically what it is that nakshatras have, each nakshatra has 4 padas, and there are 27 nakshatras. You get 108 padas. And you get 9 Navamshas per sign. So in essence, the nakshatra pada and the Navamsha is the same. So it's the thing that links the Rashi and the Navamsha chart together. So the Navamsha is studied for all the 4 aims of life: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. People tend to look at it only for relationships, that it's to look at for marriage, but actually Navamsha is the thing that ties the whole chart around, where your Atma Karaka is in Navamsha, where the Lagna Lord is in Navamsha, where your moon is in Navamsha. Everything has to be studied. Like it's if you think, I always give this example that your chart, Rashi chart, is your house. People can see it from outside, but what is happening inside? It may look very beautiful, everything, but the inside has to be studied through the Vargas. And
it may be a horror house.
Yeah. And then you want to look more deeper and deeper. And Navamsha is like really is the foundation. So without looking at the Navamsha, of course, people are worried about the Navamsha Lagna and the timing. But what happens is that the timing, the Navamsha Lagna can change, but that is also a good rectification tool. But you have to be comfortable. Often people are studying Western astrology. They're not used to taking the Navamsha so comfortably. But in Vedic, you got to do Rashi Navamsha. There is no choice, because that is really the foundation of your chart.
So when you're studying, you're looking at a chart and you see, well, okay, Saturn is debilitated in this person's, let's say, ascendant in the birth chart. And wow, it's exalted in the 7th house in the Navamsha. I mean, how are you making that link when you're looking at the chart?
Well, basically it means that you have a strong strength in internally. for the Shani. Secondly, even debilitated planets, if we discuss the debilitated planets, you have to look at the Shadbal and you have to look at the Vimshopak. Because sometimes it's again this whole thing that maybe your door is peeling and inside is very nice. It's very interesting. There's a restaurant where I live and I've never gone in because I don't like the exterior. The other day I went because I thought we had no choice, and it's beautiful inside. So, so you see this Shani outside, you see my planet is debilitated. Actually, debilitated, it just means that Shani in Aries, he's in a rush to do things. Shani in Libra wants to take things slowly. So there's nothing wrong with having Shani in Aries, but often debilitated planets give health problems. But you have to see what is their strength by other means. So, but Navamsha is a good means. If you have Saturn in Aries and in Navamsha, you have it in Capricorn or Libra or well-placed Saturn, then, the Saturn is not behaving just like in Aries, impatient, wanting to get things done yesterday. But that also, without Navamsha, you can't analyze anything.
Now, they also say if birth chart is your first half of life, Navamsha is like what you mature into in your second half of life. Is that something that you also kind of look at it in that way, or yours is like?
No, I don't follow that, but one can see that automatically, we learn from our lessons. So maybe as we mature, we learn from our lessons and go towards the Navamsha. But generally, that thing is always there. In essence, all our strengths and weaknesses are there right from the beginning. But as we mature, we learn how to make the best use of them. So one can say, yes, maybe at a later date, we get more towards our Navamsha because then we are learning, that is there.
And what about Sastyamsha? What is the importance of Sastyamsha? How important it is for us to study that?
At the end of it, you can study as much as you want to study. The main thing with Jyotish is there's so much information and you can't use everything. But Shashtiamsha has always been said to look at the deep past lives. So if people want to look at the roots of existence, why we were reborn, then we look at the Shashtiamsha. It's 5 times deeper than Navamsha. So for example, in the analogy of the house, you want to go into a secret room of the house and see, or where the functionality of the house comes in, then you look at the Shashtiamsha. So what are the strengths, weaknesses, what are the difficulties there? And so that is how, that is why you are reborn. What are the things that brought you into this life? So they say it's the causal state, or it's the closest to the causal state.
Is that like the ultimate dignity of your planet? So if let's say all your other divisional charts are showing like debilitated planet, and then suddenly then Saturn is exalted in Sastyamsha, does that have the very final say on that structure?
It will have, yes, because that is what you have brought in, So that is a deep aspect. I see people, when you look at the Varga charts, there's another very important Varga chart, D27, which is the Nakshatra Amsha, where they say you must look at the dignity of the planet there. But then D60 as well, that if you have the strength there, then that means that you've brought in a lot of good karma with you, so to say, strength with you. But maybe if let's say you have exalted Saturn in Shashtiamsha, Saturn in Aries and Rashi, means maybe you're not using it properly. You have it all there. But you're not using it. You're being impatient. You are rushing things through. The Aries more adventurous. Shani is not adventurous by nature. So when he gets into Aries, he is like that. So then understanding that may help you. Then there are devatas also of the Shashtiamsha.
Yeah, the 60 devatas.
They also protect you. But it really depends. This is why when you study Jyotish and you can understand all these different layers and how much you want to go deeper and deeper. And then there's even more. Once you think you know it all, you still find there's lots more to learn.
I mean, so coming to one of my favorite subjects, which is nakshatras.
Mhm.
How important or significance do you give to the nakshatra versus a rashi, and how do you, combine them? What is your understanding of nakshatras?
I use Nakshatra Rashi together. I'll always look at the nakshatras. I don't know, you've not obviously got my nakshatra book.
Wait.
You do have it? Yeah.
Wait, there.
Okay, good.
Yes, here it is.
So a couple of things that
You're one of my teachers of nakshatras.
love personally is Rahu, Ketu, and nakshatras.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that I always look at. So basically, nakshatra is how your mind works. So, the importance of the mind working, because nakshatras are ruled by the moon and it is the lunar zodiac. And in India, we paid always great importance to the lunar zodiac. All the festivals, all the things, they are all connected to the lunar zodiac. So we will be looking at the Rashi Nakshatra, then the lordship of the nakshatra. I like to look at it, there are two ways. One is just like, you analyze what planet, what nakshatra it is, all the qualities of the nakshatra. Then there are techniques, you can look at the technique by looking at the lordship of the nakshatra. What is his strength? What I've noticed a lot is that if your Lagna nakshatra lord is very strong, and he can be strong, is Atma Karaka planet, he's 9th Lord planet, 10th Lord planet. It has a big influence like that. Then he's in Mahapurusha yoga or any other yoga. So the Lord of the nakshatras make a lot of difference. So for example, if somebody has, their dasha running just now, and the nakshatra Lord is the 9th Lord, then even if the dasha is not so good, that inner picture will be very positive. Similarly, if you are in a dasha and the nakshatra Lord is the 8th Lord, then 8th Lord will bring some disruption, some change, some health issues, which may not be visible right in the Rashi chart. One of my most important techniques I like to look at, simple technique right at the beginning I look at, is that what are the rulerships of all your planets and their nakshatra. Now, a friend of mine who's a great yoga teacher, all her nakshatras are in either little bit Rahu, but mostly Ketu.
Oh,
so,
wow.
You see that when I saw her chart, that was a big signature. Sometimes, that it looked, she has Jupiter in Sagittarius, but Mula Nakshatra, Moon in Sagittarius, Mula Nakshatra, so you have that, but the influence of Ketu, then you have to see, people like to know what is the nakshatra, so you can look at the nakshatra quality as well. But you can look at the deeper meaning of the rulership. So if you look at all your planets, sometimes you'll find a signature there of the rulerships. But also then to see, what is your dasha, what is your bhukti, what is their nakshatra lord, and the strength or weakness of that nakshatra lord and house rulership.
And how important are nakshatras, planets and nakshatras besides moon?
I look at all the planets. Because you see, when you're looking at dashas, you could be in Shani dasha, and Shani is what nakshatra is in. That is the key thing. So you have to look at all the nakshatras. I like to analyze all planets with the nakshatras, but it's also nice to know the lordship, especially for dasha analysis. And knowing the nakshatra rulership is key, actually, to analysis.
Now, when somebody comes to you and says, Komilla ji, I want to know my destiny. What is my destiny? What am I here to do? I'm confused. What are some of your things that you're looking in the chart to, not just a career, but look, this is what you're destined to do?
We talked about this right at the beginning, Kapil, that I don't think that we have a fixed destiny. We have a destiny, which is our planets, what the planets are. And secondly, the destiny unfolds over a lifetime.
Yeah.
Mostly when people are coming and they are confused, and this is a question I'm asked a lot when I'm at, lecturing at yoga conferences and things like that. People want to know more than just. So then, you have to look at, firstly, the Lagna Lord, Atma Karaka. Atma Karaka is very important. That's the planet with, I know you know, but just for this.
No, absolutely.
Planets with the highest degree in your, and what is their relationship between them, and then specifically what are the dashas you're going through, because the destiny that is why the nakshatra is so important. You see, the destiny unfolds through the dasha system. So often, I'm trying to understand that, understanding your main chart and then understanding the unfolding of the destiny.
Wow. Yeah. And one of the other questions that I want to ask you is, you were talking about Atma Karaka. What is Atma Karaka? And they say Amata Karaka is the career. So what is your analysis on Amata Karaka?
Yeah, Amata Karaka is, it's actually the helper to the soul. If Atma Karaka is the soul indicator, this is the second most important planet in the chart. And he helps the soul fulfill his ambition, because they call him like a minister,
Yeah.
If Atma Karaka is king. So minister is the advisor to the soul. And Amata Karaka also tells about your career, what you professionally you can do, where you can, what you can achieve. So Amata Karaka is a very important planet. Basically, in anybody's chart, you see the higher degree planets, the higher the degree planets, the greater the maturity of the soul. So what you see is that the Atma and Amatya, sometimes like you see in major people's chart, the Atma Amatya is very close in degree together. It doesn't matter the signs, but very close in degree, because they're very kind of strong, mature souls. They have to finish something. So, and then the Aruda Karaka, which is for relationship, is the lowest degree planet. That means that's your most immature self in love and emotions.
Yeah.
And,
wow, that is so important. Yeah.
See that. And so the Amata Karaka is a huge role to play in how you're going to fulfill your destiny. So often destiny is fulfilled through work, because work is called, 10th house is called Karma Bhava. And karma is our work, but karma is actually the way we pay back our old karma. So that is why that karma bhava, it's not called work, career. So what we do, what we pay back to society through our jobs. In the olden days, there was no flexibility of jobs. So now we have a lot of flexibility. You can be born to somebody, you can do what you feel like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the Amata Karaka, that is helping us to fulfill our karma, so that then we don't have so much more karma to exhaust when we come in the next lifetime. So he becomes a very key planet in the chart. And the thing you have to see is how Atma and Amatya relate to each other, both in Rashi and Navamsha. You see, that is where the key of Navamsha chart comes in, that you're seeing their relationship in Rashi and Navamsha.
What do you mean by relationship in Rashi and Navamsha? I know the Gemini aspects and all that, but I just wanted to know the deeper meaning of the relationship.
No, not Gemini aspects. It's not to do with the aspects but it's that Atma Karaka and Amatya. Let's say you have them trining each other. So Trikona, first 5 house in Rashi, or they're conjunct in Rashi. But how they relate to each other in the Navamsha, house positions, So are they 6-8 from each other, 3-11? What is their relationship with each other? Are they conjunct? If you have Atma, Amatya, Karaka conjunct together in the same sign, it's very powerful.
Yeah, it's a Gemini Raj Yoga.
Yeah, but if you have it in Navamsha, it's even more powerful, because it means that that's the final picture.
Wow.
The relationship between them, or suppose their ruler is the same, so sometimes they may not be in a good position, but you have to see where their rulers are. But Atma, Matya, very important in your understanding destiny, really, that because Atma Karaka is giving a bigger picture to your life, and Amatya is fulfilling through the karma that we do in this life, fulfilling whatever the soul has to do and supporting it.
So this comes to a very, very commonly asked question, because that happens when scholars come and they talk about this, then people actually ask me, like, well, then you have ascendant, you got to study that. You have your moon, you got to study that. You got to have your ascendant lord. Then you have Aruda Lagna. Then you have Atma Karaka. Then you have Bhrigu.
Endless.
What am I doing here? What am I supposed? Who am I?
No, you have to study step by step. You study your Lagna, then you study your moon, then you study your sun, then the Lagna Lord, then so when you start looking at all the things together, but you study it step by step.
But doesn't it contradict itself? But okay, you're a bad guy with the Atma Karaka, but you're doing a good deed from the moon, but then from Aruda Lagna, you're doing this. And you're
but I don't think you're necessarily bad. You can just...
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, people would think that.
Yeah, the thing is that life is contradictory. We are not just one person, we don't have one-dimensional personality. And that is why when you start looking at your chart, you always start with looking at the Lagna and the Lagna Lord. That is your key to interpretation. Then moon Lord, where is moon position? Because Lagna is your moment of birth. It decides everything. You can't go to Atma Karaka, Aruda, all these things.
Yeah.
But you see, Aruda's importance is this, because Lagna and Lagna Lord create a third position, a reflecting position, which is the Aruda. So how do you use your Lagna and Lagna Lord together is explained in the Aruda. Why Aruda is how it manifests. We have a Lagna, we have Lagna Lord. Now, how do they manifest? So we go to the Aruda. So what is the Aruda doing? Then same thing, you look at the moon. What is your mind doing? Yeah, this is all fine. My image is good. This is what I look like. But what is your mind acting at? So I'm talking to you. I can't see how your mind is working. But if I had your chart, I would know, this is how Kapil's mind works. So you want to see how the person, are they happy, dissatisfied, mind? So many times people say, I'm so unhappy. That is not because of your Lagna. That is because of your moon chart. So then all these other things, then Atma Karaka, you ask me question, what is my destiny?
Mm-hmm.
What is the bigger picture? Then I want to look at Atma Karaka. So this is what I was saying, that in Jyotish, the more you know, the less you know.
The less you know, exactly. The more you know, the less you know. Absolutely.
Don't feel confused by it. But, you have to think, traditionally they said that the first step of Jyotish was 12 years. That means one Jupiter cycle. That was when you just comprehended Jyotish. So as people have this opportunity to learn from you, you're teaching them all the time, but they have to have patience, because everything takes time, So one 12-year cycle. Now I'm going almost into my second 12 year of teaching. I've studied now since 79.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable now with my knowledge. I've been, comfortable for many years, but every time the more Jupiter cycles go away, the better you are. And there's a saying for Jyotish, in fact, it's not said by me, but by a colleague of mine, who said, the only job is Jyotish where the more gray hair you have, the more wiser you are, because that many more transits. So it's not something you have to be afraid of getting a few gray hair in Jyotish.
Absolutely. One interesting question I want to kind of go back, where you're talking about manifestation through the Aruda Lagna of sun and moon, because they say Aruda Lagna is the illusion of what people think who you are. But what did you meant by the manifestation of your sun and moon and the Lagna?
Of your Lagna, really, of any planet, but we look at Aruda for the Lagna or for all the other things. But basically, Aruda is the Lagna and the Lagna Lord combined, how the two act together. Because if your Lagna is in the third house, we see third from third to get the Aruda. So that means there's an extra position. So how is it actually expressing itself? How is your Lagna and Lagna Lord combined together, creating a third? It's like husband and wife create a baby.
That's very true.
That is coming up there. So it is in a way like how it manifests. Even when you see Aruda and Prashna chart, where they also create Aruda, they create a separate Lagna. that is so it's a very important aspect. So it is how people view you as well, but it is also how you are actually using it. Because why Aruda would be so important? Why just say, okay, this is how people view you, but this is how you manifest the energy.
My last question to you is about outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. What is your take on them versus the 9 planets we already have?
I respect them, I honor them, but I don't use them.
Okay.
My work I was teaching a lot to Western astrologers and lecturing to them, and they would always say, oh, we don't want to study Vedic astrology because they don't use outer planets. But you see, we use a lot more other things that make up for the outer planets. Secondly, our Jyotish has always been about visible astrology. So what we can see with the naked eye. So naked eye, you can see up to Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
And Rahu, Ketu are visible during eclipses. And so also the mathematics of Jyotish, Jyotish is all not just what is visible. Everything has a specific mathematical calculation. So which I was telling you that there are 27 nakshatras, 4 padas, 12 rashis, 9 planets, 108. Everything points to 109 multiplied by 12. Navagraha. And so there's this whole mathematical system which we can start using the outer planets. They don't bridge in it. But I'm not against if you want to use outer planets. But it's not something I use because my work has always been
there's so much information just from the 9 planets. I mean, my God, you need like 2 other lifetimes just to work on the next 3 planets.
Secondly, we don't have enough information about those in our subject. Maybe people will write now.
Yeah.
So as it is, people complain there's so much information. And so I think we have to, decide what we want to do. If you're using it, you're happy with it, I'm not against it. But I don't use it. In fact, I personally, just because I decided I'm going to follow the classical Jyotish.
Yeah, absolutely. So if people want a consultation from you and learn from you, where can they go?
Well, I have a website, komilla.com, and also I have a page on Facebook under my name. Also, I tweet at komilla.com, at Komilla Sutton. But I have, I do a couple of things. I teach a full program of Jyotish, which starts in March.
Okay.
So from March, I have a beginner's course, 3 levels of courses, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And the 4th level, every year I change, which this year I'm teaching Germany. Next year, I'm going to be teaching Vargas. So I'm doing a 36 lesson course on Vargas.
Okay.
So they can learn from me. Also, annually, I've only recently started doing this. I do a conference in India for my students, and I also have master gurus come from India, which is in February this year in Mahabalipuram. And another thing,
February next year?
Yeah, 2017.
Okay.
And all the information is on my website. And then also this year, or 2017, my temple trip is for the Mars temples. So I do a temple trip because in South India especially, you have temples for all the planets.
Yeah.
And like a thing. So I do that regularly. So hopefully you can get all the information on komilla.com.
Perfect. Wow. Thank you so much, Komilla ji, for coming here and giving me your precious time.
Thank you.
And I hope to invite you again soon, and so we can discuss and go deeper into things.
Good. And all the best. I love what you do. So
thank you so much. Actually, I'm going to be in Sedona soon. Are you going to be in Sedona?
No? I live in California,
Okay. All right.
San Francisco.
Great. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.